Okay, we're ready when the timer is.
So my presentation will be on about how we can limit fossil fuels. My big question was, how can governments and the people reduce the use of fossil fuels to protect the earth? So here's some definitions I have. Fossil fuels, which are natural fuels such as coal or gas, formed in the past from remains of living organisms. And they are non-renewable resources, which are substances that can't be, or that are being dug up faster than they can be replaced. Why this issue matters? This issue matters because fossil fuels and carbon emissions are slowly destroying our planet. And if we destroy the earth, then we're also screwed. So carbon emissions have been on the rise recently, which is just slowly causing the earth to heat up. From this graph, as you see, from this graph's from 1900 to 2010, and this is the amount of tons of carbon, million metric tons of carbon, and you can see that it's almost at 10,000 million metric tons by 2010, and that was 10 years ago. So, and it's increased even more since then. If the Earth continues to heat, the heat could slowly shrink populations of different species, to even to the point that many of them will also go extinct. Virtually every country that agrees that messing with the climate is a very bad thing, agrees that we need to keep the global temperature increase to 2 degrees Celsius. However, it is very likely that we will shoot way past that to 3 degrees or even 4 degrees. And I know 4 degrees might not sound like much, but 4 degrees could cause things like collapse in global food production, catastrophic floods and droughts, and cause ice to melt in the north, which could cause floods that will destroy coastal cities. So my thesis is to help limit fossil fuels, we the people and governments around the world need to convince people to make lifestyle changes, and then governments need to create more projects and policies, and they need to work with companies to slow down the production of mining fossil fuels. So my first point, that we need to convince people to make lifestyle changes. We have far more fossil fuels in the earth, in the ground, that we can safely burn. So we need to stop. We need to stop digging them up, or we need to limit the amount we can dig up. And then I think people need to become more aware of what they can do to help limit it. So some little things that you can do is just ride a bike or walk to places, turn off lights when you leave the room, and keep your heat down, because those all burn fossil fuels. And then my second point is governments need to create more projects and policies. So governments recently have been, certain governments have been, like the US, their use of clean energy has been on the rise. However, those same companies are digging up fossil fuels, and then selling and distributing it to other countries like China to use in industrial things and industry. So some solutions to that is that governments need to stop approving these projects to dig up these fossil fuels and then sell them to these countries. And then they need to create laws that will limit carbon emissions, like Australia's carbon tax, which put a tax on things like gasoline and things like that. And then finally, governments need to start put a big focus on slowing down companies' production. So a study I found saying from 1751 to 2010, only 90 companies contribute to 63% of the greenhouse gases emitted globally. So that's well over half the world's greenhouse emissions over the span of almost 300 years. So these companies are called carbon majors, and carbon majors are companies that produce at least 8 million tons of carbon per year. These companies, some examples of these companies are, I think, are companies like Shell, BP, ExxonMobil, and similar companies to that. And this is a graph showing from roughly 1890 to 2013 how globally we've emitted 1,442,000 million metric tons of CO2. And these carbon emissions have carbon majors have released 937,000 million metric tons of that 1.4 million. And the top 8 companies of those carbon majors released 2,888 million metric tons. So what governments can do? I think that if governments limit their find ways to limit the companies using the carbon emissions, or limit how much they can dig up from the ground. And then conclusion: we need to make changes soon. So we are getting awfully close to that 2 degrees Celsius and the global temp increase. Some big changes need to happen soon, like changing government in different companies. And there's not much one person can do, but the biggest thing that you all can do is go out and vote for people who you believe will who will make a big difference and make those necessary changes to help limit the use of fossil fuels and greenhouse gases.
All right.